Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. I appreciate everybody that took the time to go ahead and donate to my aunt's GoFundMe for breast cancer. Within like 2 days, we've raised over $4,000. That's amazing. I'm super appreciative to everybody that took the time to go ahead and donate. And I will have the link posted again in the description to every single video from here on out. But for this video, I'm going to be talking about somebody I knew for only a short amount of time. And it's weird because I got to know this person behind a door. We were never actually face to face. We were never in the same cell, in the same dorm, nothing like that. But this video is going to be about a gangster disciple named Hotboy. Now, I met Hotboy at Sumter CI. So this was the youth offender prison. It was 18 and under. You turn 19, you get shipped off to either Lake City or Lancaster. I'm not going to lie. I heard some stories about Hotboy. I mean, like, Jit was rocking, you know what I'm saying? He was slanging iron, all that. Some of the craziest shit that I heard about this kid. He got into it with somebody from Miami. I'm not going to put their name out there, but I will show y'all the picture. Him and another one of his people, they crawled military style under the bunks until they were both on the sides of this dude that was sleeping from Miami, and they cut him down both sides of his face. Now, the razors they had, it had 2 razors on each one, so he got 2 lines going down his face on each side. I'm talking about army crawling just to get him and somebody else. Like, the type of shit Hotboy was doing, he was rocking for real, for real. He went to prison, I believe he was 15. He got locked up at 14. He was sentenced to 15 years. And at a young age, that can fuck your head up. But the stories about this kid, it was always some gladiator shit. And he's not that big. He ain't that tall. But I mean, I heard another story about somebody tried to fire him up with a lock. Ran up on him, swung the lock. He weaved it. Picked up somebody's mat, lifted up the mat. When Buddy came back to hit him with the lock again, blocked it with the mat while he reached inside of his pants, pulled out his own lock, and fired that kid up in his fucking face, right? I never got to see none of these crazy stories. This is just shit that I heard about Hotboy. And everyone that was at Sumter CI at the time, we all heard the same. Everybody knew Hotboy was going to go. He was rocking. I met him in confinement. So at the time, a lot of people were going psych because we were trying to get shipped off. We were at Sumter, but we already had so much box time, there was no point staying there because we were all going to turn 19 and get shipped off anyway. So we thought if we go psych, we can speed up the process and get to the next spot. Now, this was only our first prison, you know what I'm saying? And like, nobody here is really an old timer unless they came from like the river or some shit like that. We don't really have too much communication with the adults. So we're thinking if we go to another prison, we'll get let out of confinement, which isn't the case. If you're in confinement for a certain amount of time, you're going to get shipped to the next spot and still have to serve out that confinement time. But this was when everybody started going psych, right? And there was a jit downstairs. He was the first one to pop it off. So what he did is he saved his brownie from brownie day, waited like 2-3 days, and he took a shit and wiped shit all over his cell, all over the window, all over the walls, started kicking the door down. When the COs came, he left a little opening on his window. He ate the brownie, made it look like he was eating his own shit. They gassed him. They did a cell extraction. He got shipped down to Miami. So Miami, down south, the Florida Reception Center, that's where they send all the psych cases, you know what I mean? And everyone's trying to go down there because they got the baddest nurses. And if you hit the pound there, you know, they got everything down there. Everybody's smoking, everybody's hanging out, right? So the next one to pop it off was Hotboy. And I didn't really know, bro, when he did this shit. You know what I'm saying? But he came out for showers in confinement. So when you come out, there's usually 2 COs. You got to cuff up in the flap before they let y'all out. They pop the door. They bring you out and they walk you to the showers. He went out first. Then his bunkie came out. The top tier, it has rails. So when they took Hotboy out, he literally jumped over the rails on the tier. Like, he jumped over that shit. I mean, when I talked to him, he said he wasn't trying to kill himself. But it's like there's so many ways to go psych where you can fake it. You know what I mean? Or you can do something extreme like wipe shit all over the walls, but then you're still eating a brownie, like you're faking it. You're consciously faking it. Or you can do what EJ did, banging his head off the door until the shit was all lumped up. He went psych. I scratched myself with a razor, made it seem like I cut myself. I went psych. But Hotboy tried to jump off the top tier while he was handcuffed. And he went over. And when his body flipped over, the CO grabbed him by his ankle and held on. And I mean, he's hanging upside down, handcuffed. But they were able to pull him back up. And they put him on psych immediately. And, you know, he got put in the psych cell. I actually got put in the psych cell right by his. You know what I'm saying? And that's how, you know, we started communicating. I was next to EJ. And me and EJ, you know, when you're in a psych cell, there's nothing in this cell with you. You're completely stripped. You have nothing but a big-ass mat, a suicide-proof blanket, and either a turtle suit or a skirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're ass naked in here. So there's nothing you can really do. There's nothing you can fuck with. When they give you food, they serve it in, like styrofoam trays. And you don't get a spoon. So you got to break off a corner piece of the styrofoam tray and scoop the food in your mouth. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get all liquids. You got to just scoop it in and eat with your hands. And me and EJ, you know, we would get on the vent that night. You know what I'm saying? We put the mat right up next to the vent and we just talk through the wall all night. And we go over anything. Like, I don't know. We would just pick a topic. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, name every Cartoon Network show. He names a show. I name a show. We go to Nickelodeon. We go to fucking Adult Swim. We go to Comedy Central. We might talk about PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation 2 games, females, whatever it is. Like, we're just talking about every single thing we can talk about because there's nothing to do. Telling stories, everything. And what ended up happening was EJ got off of psych. He tapped out, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to stay on psych or whatever. I was like, man, fuck that. So if you're psych for 7 days in the state of Florida, it's supposed to be a psych emergency and you immediately get shipped down south. You know what I mean? And in my case, when we went psych, there was so many people going psych that summer that the state of Florida was on a fucking psych lockdown. It was a psych emergency. They couldn't do any more shipments. All the psych cells were full. Everybody was trying to go psych around the same time. So what ended up happening was they moved me and Hotboy into like the medical unit in the psych cells that's right by the nurses, where they put who they feel is the most extreme and who they feel is the next on the list to get shipped. So me and Hotboy, like, we were high up in the state of Florida on emergency transfers. Like, there was a whole list of emergency transfers and we were on that list. And I mean, we couldn't go anywhere. We're just stuck in here. So it passed the 7 days, which was supposed to be the psych emergency. And me and Hotboy, we get put into 2 different cells. So there's a hallway. There's one room on this side, one room on this side. When you look out of your room, all you see is the white wall in front of you. You know what I mean? You can't see shit. But if I'm on the door and I yell, I can talk to Hotboy. But what the COs used to do is there was a big fan in the hallway, and when they turned the fan on, we can't hear each other. So they would turn the fan on, and you literally have no communication. And I did 21 days in the psych cell. That shit was fucking insane. You know what I mean? But that's when I sat down, and I'm in this cell, and I'm just like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I'm like, I just want to get out and make videos. I want to record, you know, partying, hanging out, smoking, girls, all types of shit. I didn't know what vlogging was. I didn't know about the whole YouTube and shit. None of that. But it's like, that's the things I was thinking about unintentionally. Like, I didn't know what I was actually thinking about or what it was called. I just knew that it was something along those lines I wanted to do. And when I got out, I wasn't even interested. So it's weird, like, how I still ended up on the path of doing what I wanted to do in that psych cell. But throughout that time, I got to talk to Hotboy. I got to know him a little better. And he swears up and down he wasn't trying to kill himself. And I honestly don't believe him. Because he told me, he got sentenced to 15 years and his family wasn't riding with him. He really wasn't getting any support. And you could just hear it in his voice. It fucked with him a lot. You know what I mean? It fucked with him. I felt bad for him. Because it's just like, I don't know. It sucks because when you're inside a prison, you realize that pretty much any friendship you have in there, there's a time limit on it. Whether one of you are going to get sent to a different spot, or you're going to get put in a different dorm, or someone's going to get out before someone else and you're not going to know them. And it kind of makes you limit your friendship in a sense. Sometimes you'll go all out and y'all will be bros, Someone goes another way and you guys lose communication and it is what it is. And sometimes you don't want to get that close because you don't want to feel that loss. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get cool with somebody just for them to go. And that's something that happens to kids that got a lot of time like this. Like my brother DJ got 30 years, got sentenced at like 16. There has to be some form of a mental effect, a mental downside to meeting people and knowing that relationship, that friendship is so limited. Same thing on the street. Like imagine you meet motherfuckers, but it's like, I know I'm not going to know you longer than 6 months. So what's the point? You know what I mean? And I felt that with Hotboy. And I ain't gonna lie. Like he was a cool ass dude, even though he a GD. We didn't really have any issue. We just spoke like people. And it's like I said, I could just hear it in his voice that he felt let down by a lot of people. And he felt alone inside the prison. And on that 21st day in the psych cell, I tapped the fuck out. I'm like, fuck this shit. I can't do it no more. And I basically told Hotboy, I'm going to holler at you, bro. And I went back to confinement. I thought that would be the last time I ever saw Hotboy. But actually, when I got shipped from Sumter and I was on my way to Lancaster, I had to go from Sumter CI to CFRC to Lake Butler. And y'all know the Lake Butler story when I got cut. So when I got cut, after they beat the fuck out of me in the captain's office, they brought me into the confinement wing and they put me in the shower before they figured out what cell they're going to put me in. So they stick me in the shower, I'm handcuffed, and the CO, he goes, back out wherever. And somebody gets on the door. Hey, yo, Cherry. Because everybody call me by my last name. I'm like, what's up? Who that is? He's like, it's Hotboy. I'm like, nah, what's up with you, bro? He's like, man, what's up? Why you in here? I was like, bro, I got cut. And he just he sounded so disappointed. He was like, damn, dog, how you let them get you like that? And I told him, my toes was fucked up. I couldn't walk. I tried to, go at it with him, but he ran off and told the police. And he was just basically like, man, F them, it ain't nothing. But it was crazy seeing him. And he actually had stayed psyched the whole time and went down to South Florida. And when I seen him the first time, he was skinny. When I saw him at Butler, he was swole. Like, Hotboy done blew up just from being in confinement, just working out nonstop. So now he a little cocky motherfucker. And, I was happy to see, bro. I was happy to see him. He seemed like he was in better spirits, but you got to understand, months had gone by and he's still in confinement. And that was the last time I ever saw Hotboy. But this video isn't that I have insane stories about him. I mean, the fact that you fucking crawled under a bunk and just cut some kid's face on both sides of his face is insane. The fact that someone tried to hit you with a lock, you weaved it, grabbed a mat as a shield and fired them up with your lock is insane. The fact that you jumped off of the top tier, not knowing if somebody is going to catch you, is insane. But that isn't the point of this video. The point of this video is you got someone that's been locked up since he was 14 that doesn't have a support system. Regardless of gang affiliations, he's a person at the end of the day. And to me, I feel he's a solid individual, not based on the violence and how he's rocking, but just off of his conversation. And the fact that he's willing to admit, yeah, I feel lonely in here. I feel like I have nobody. I feel like I have no support. So I would like to ask if anybody is willing to be a pen pal and reach out to Hotboy, to DM me on Instagram and I'll set you up with everything. They have an app called JPay. You can send pictures, email. You can even do video visitations. You can send videos. The communication inside of prison has stepped up. There's really not an excuse for people not to have pen pals anymore. I understand when it was a pain in the ass to write a letter and all that, but they've made it so easy you can literally have it on your phone. And I mean, I just think it would be dope if somebody could reach out to him and show some support. You know what I'm saying? To a solid individual. He gets out. His release date right now is 2023. So he has gotten a bit of game time because he was sentenced in 2010. So he's got about 2 years of game time right now, which means that he's doing good in there. You know, he's not in the YOs anymore. He's a year younger than me, so he's like 24 right now. And, yo, man, free Hotboy. I hope the rest of his bid goes smooth. I hope some of his family members have reached out to him. And like I said, if anybody wants to write him, go ahead and hit me up on Instagram. But another wild fact, though, is that same kid that Hotboy cut, you know, when he crawled under the bunk, when I got hit with a brick at Lancaster CI and I went to medical, that same dude from Miami had just got hit with a box cutter and they just stitched up his whole face. It's crazy. So I saw him again too. And I know y'all gonna be like, oh, why would we support somebody that cut somebody? Listen, this is prison. This is how prison works. This is what it is. And that same person that he cut that's from Miami got out, went to Georgia, tried to rob a couple, ended up shooting the couple, killing someone. I think it was either the husband or the wife, and he already got sentenced to life. So it's insane how things play out. It's insane how some people get out and become successful. Some people get out, they don't become shit. And some crash out and go right back. But hey, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, let y'all rocking with me. Till next time.